Hi everyone, I'm Angie Spong and I'm putting together a series of projects for machine embroidery. To purchase the project, please go to my website at www.angies.co.nz, and you can also follow me on Facebook at Angie's Machine Embroidery. Hope you enjoyed this presentation.
This is my Christmas tree project that looks so lovely under my tree at Christmas time. As you can see, I've alternated the sections with Christmas fabric and plain fabric, and then done this lovely cross-stitch Christmas tree design on the plain fabric. The frill is being done with a ruffler foot there, and the edge on the overlocking using a rolled edge, and the thread the same as in the embroidery. At the back we've got 3 little bows to close the back opening, so it makes it nice and easy to put the skirt around your Christmas tree. When you've been to my website and purchased the project, you will immediately get an email with files attached with your embroidery designs, instructions and patterns. You will have chosen either A4 or letter size paper. The PDF files for the instructions and patterns, just double click on those and they will open in Adobe Acrobat Reader. Click on your print button and your print window will open. Make sure that you set the page scaling to none. You can use your down arrow here to choose none. That will ensure that your patterns are printed out in actual size. Click OK and the patterns will print out. The section for your pattern here, it comes in 3 parts, so it will need to be joined across here and the 2 bottom pieces down the center here. You've got your little section there at the top. The back opening section, it also needs to be joined here in the center. It's down the back there, and you've got the little piece here at the top. Now the first thing to do is to take your plain fabric, I'm going to be using this one, just cut that in half on the length, and then take your piece and fold it into 3 equal parts and cut it into 3 sections. We now have 6 pieces of the plain fabric. We also need to cut out your fusible batting or fleece to back that with. So I'll go and press that on now. Then we're ready to start our embroidery. And while the embroidery is all working, we can be cutting out our other pieces. So now you can be cutting out while your machine is doing the embroidery. We need 4 sections of your Christmas fabric, and I've fussy cut mine so that they are all 4 the same. I did that first, then you can cut out your other pieces in the Christmas fabric. I've cut 2 of the back opening pieces, 1 left and 1 right, and we need the top section for the back opening here, 1 left and 1 right, and the little sections that go at the top. Now we need 9 of these, and as you can see I've cut those all on the same line as well, so they look lovely when they're joined up. We also need batting for all of these pieces, so I've cut 4 of the segments there. The batting for your back opening, we need 1 left and 1 right, and they need to be cut to the fold line here. The same for the little top pieces too, 1 left and 1 right, and they are also cut to the fold line on the pattern. And I've got my 9 little sections here for the top of the batting cut out. So the only other piece then we need is this little strip cut on the bias. That is to finish the opening around the inner circle of the Christmas tree skirt. And these are the pieces that you cut out of your other Christmas fabric. We're going to cut 3 strips here, which will be cut on the fold line here. So we've got our 6 ties for down the back. We've also got 6 strips here for the frill around the outside edge. I'm using my FAF Creative Vision to work this project. So first of all, I've transferred the design onto the USB stick and brought that up on my screen here. I've set the machine up for embroidery. I like to use a single hole needle plate. It gives a much more even tension on your bobbin. Your bobbin has your bobbin fill in there. We have the embroidery needle in place, and this is the D6 foot. So I've gone into my tools here and told my machine I'm using that foot. At the top, I've got my thread stand in place with all of the threads in order, and just pop the thread then behind the spool here, which I've put the cap on, so it just goes straight into your thread keeper here. Now we're ready to put the hoop on. I'm using my 360 by 200 hoop on this machine. That's the correct hoop for this design. If you're using another machine, just check with my instructions and it will tell you what hoop size to use. So I've hooped up with tear away and then put the hoop clips in to keep the fabric nice and taut. With your fabric, just fold that in half and mark either side halfway, and fold it in half the other way and mark the top and the bottom. Now we can place our fabric underneath the foot on top of the tear away, and then match up our marks with the notches on the hoop at the top and the bottom, and just check that the sides are in the right place as well. Now I'll go through to embroidery mode on my machine, and then I'm going to engage the basting function and just baste the fabric to the tear away. This is such an easy way of setting up your embroidery. We don't need to be hooping up the fabric and the batting, which can be very thick, and then it can't bounce out. So now we're ready to start the first colour, which is a light green. That's now finished the first thread colour, so now I'll change my thread to a dark green for thread colour 2. Because we've cut out 6 pieces of this fabric and we only need 5, if you're not happy with your choice of thread colours when you finish this design, don't worry, this can just end up as your test one. That's thread colour 2 finished. Now I'm going to use red for thread colour 3, which is the swags and bows. That's thread colour 3 now finished, and it's starting to look really lovely. For colour 4, I've used a purple. That's thread colour 4 finished. You'll notice there's quite a lot of little individual parts on that colour, so you really need to have your thread cutter working nice and smoothly. If you haven't had your knife changed in a while, it'd be a good idea to get it done if it's not working properly there. Now, thread colour 5 is the outline of the star and the base. Now to change to thread colour 6, which is the last thread colour, I'm going to use a gold metallic thread for this colour, so I will just slow the machine speed down because there are a lot of little individual candlewick stitches in this colour, and that'll just help the machine to form those nicely for me. Wow, that looks lovely. That little bit of gold thread just finishes it off nicely. It gives it a nice little sparkle. With the embroidery finished, I can now take my hoop out of the embroidery unit, remove the hoop clips, unpick the basting from around the design, and then take the work out of the hoop. I've removed the tear away from around my first design, and rehooped my hoop with tearaway for the next one. Because I'm using tearaway each time in the hoop, with these hoops I only need to release that lever and then engage it again when I have rehooped. No screwing involved there. Remember to put your hoop clips back on to keep your tearaway nice and taut. And now we've just got 4 more designs to go. While my machine's been embroidering, I've been busy fusing the batting onto the rest of my fabric pieces. When we're sewing the pieces together, we're actually going to be trimming the batting off from the seam allowance all the way around to reduce the bulk. So we don't need to fuse that area. So what I've done here is to just pop a Teflon mat in between the batting and the fabric, and now I can press this on and it won't fuse just that edge, which we need to trim away later. Now that we've embroidered our 5 Christmas tree designs, we're ready to trim these back to size. Take your pattern piece, and there's a little dot at the top and one at the bottom. These indicate the top and the bottom of the embroidery design. The top dot needs to be pinned to the top of the star there, and the bottom dot to the middle of the base at the bottom there. Now you're ready to cut those out. Placing the pattern on correctly each time will ensure that all of your pieces then look exactly the same.